Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Fran. In this channel, I share knowledge and practical techniques on trauma healing and mental health conditions like eating disorder, bipolar disorder, depression, and anxiety. In this video, I wanted to offer you 3 practical dating tips for people with social anxiety, because those tips have personally helped me a ton, and they help me really effectively in managing my social anxiety under numerous dating occasions. And I hope it's gonna be helpful for you. So let's get right into it. Tip number 1 is to minimize uncertainty. For people with social anxiety, usually before the event, we have already rehearsed the whole thing like 1,000 times in our head. Mostly it's bad, like predictions. We always predict the worst to happen, and we ruminate on it, and we fantasize about it, and then we become even more anxious even before we go to the actual event. Honestly speaking, there's no way we could just eradicate the whole catastrophic predictions and thoughts 100%. So we might as well be pragmatic about it and make the best out of it. So there are 3 things you can actually do to minimize uncertainty. The first thing you could do is to always make sure the person that you're going on a date with share the same expectations, so that your expectations towards him wouldn't go away, so you wouldn't panic when things get out of control when you don't have the same expectation. For example, if you are looking for a serious relationship and the other person is actually looking for hookups, it's gonna be really out of hand when you actually meet, because the words and the gestures you both use would not match up. It actually happens quite often, and it took me a long time to learn the lesson, to be assertive about my expectation. There was one time I really liked this guy, and I went out with him, but he was just looking for hookups. So he was acting very flirtatious and also very, he just came on to me, and I just got shocked, and I just froze there because I didn't know what to do, and I become really uncomfortable. So it just ended really awkward for me, and for a very long time after that, I avoided this whole dating thing altogether, because I don't want to be put under the spotlight in front of the person I actually have a crush on. After that awkward experience, I just swore to God I would never put myself in that vulnerable and out of control situation ever again. So I trained myself to be upfront about what I need. And I even just directly put it on my Tinder profile, saying that I'm not looking for hookups or one-night stand, so that I want to make sure that the people I go out with is on the same page as I am, so that things wouldn't go away and it wouldn't cause me to feel too much out of control, and I wouldn't panic. It just makes me feel safer in general. The second thing I've learned to do is to pick somewhere that I'm already familiar with. For example, I would pick the bars that I've gone like a lot of times, and I know exactly what the setting, what the environment is, and I know what to expect from the situation. That's the ideal scenario. But if you don't have a place that you have already went or you have already felt familiar with, you can just go ahead of time, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just to walk around and see what the surroundings are like and what the environment looks like for you, so that you would feel more in control when the date actually shows up. It's like a mental trick that you are sending this message to yourself, like, well, you are already familiar with this place, so you should be okay. You're good to go. The third thing is that you could do some visualizations before actually going to this event. There are 2 ways, actually. The first one is to visualize going to this place, like just entering this place confidently and talking to people and see how people respond positively to you. You will feel more chill and comfortable. And second way to visualize is to visualize somewhere, like for me is the beach. Whenever I think about the beach, I think about the waves, I think about the ocean, and I think about the sounds of the nature and the birds. It just calms me down, so that whenever I enter the social occasion with this calm state, I would just immediately feel more in control. If you wanted to know detailed instructions for this visualization, you can actually check out my video. I'm going to put it somewhere here. And the second tip is to allow pauses in conversations. In dating occasions for people with social anxiety, we often fear, we're just so scared of not being able to fill up the gap between every sentence because we feel like we're worried of being left behind. We're worried being perceived as boring or not able to catch up with their conversation. We ended up listening to respond instead of hearing what the other person is actually saying in order to gain approval and validation and not being negatively judged by people like we predicted. We portray someone that are even unrecognizable to ourselves. And then we feel shame, and then we engage in negative self-talk, and we say things like, well, I don't even like me right now. What am I doing? Why did I say that? Oh my God, I'm blushing. I'm gonna faint. We're saying all those things to ourselves, and then we create more anxiety. And when we're unrelaxed from a both mind and body level, there's no way we can actually create this mind-to-mind genuine connection. And then strong anxiety would kick in. If we're successful, we speak incredibly fast. We fill the gap of each sentence with anxious sweats or blushes. But if we fail, we would just completely disengage. We become very slow in responding and speaking our mind. We just kind of space out. We disengage. And then we just dissonant because we basically just froze, Pauses in conversations are necessary. Every conversation needs this rhythm and beats. Sometimes it's intensive, sometimes it's slow and gentle. This kind of rhythm is comfortable because you can actually really take time to process what the other person is saying. You can actually take some sips, you can take a deep breath, and then you can even pause and look in their eyes. You can actually take time to really process what the other person is saying, to really understand it, to try to figure out what the intention behind it and how your body really wanted to respond to that conversation. Really take time for yourself instead of just complete gibberish in order to keep up the pace with the other person. After all, it's the quality that matters instead of the quantity. And the third thing is to allow authenticity and vulnerability. To build connections, the essence here is to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to be completely who you are, to speak your personal truth. If you're guarded, if you're pretending to be someone else, there's no way that you're building this connection, this real, authentic connection. So try to express yourself as who you are. Just try to voice your feelings. I'm not saying like you have to give out this whole social anxiety thing, open up about your past of dating and all that. I'm not saying this, but what I'm saying is that you need to just try to express how you feel right there at that moment. For example, you could say something like, I don't really feel very well in my stomach because I didn't have dinner. Or you can say that this place is really crowded and loud. Why don't we just take a walk after this sip? Just try to express how you actually feel. You'll be surprised at how the other person is willing to go along, if that's a decent person, to make you feel better. That's almost like a human instinct to want others to feel better, to cater for the other person so that they stop experiencing these uncomfortable feelings themselves. So this actually what happened to me one time. And the guy, he's really nice and he just started to take care of me after that. And I would know that this person is someone that I can open up to, someone that I can trust, I feel safe with. You can also take it as a signal to see if this person is actually someone that you feel safe being open to, being vulnerable with, being authentic with. If that's the person, you would know that you can put your guard down a little bit and show the true colors of yourself, and you would have more trust with each other. Most importantly, you would know that people won't actually judge and negatively criticize you as you pictured in your head when you were anticipating all those social events. Authenticity is something that people with social anxiety should really take time to practice on, because for a lot of us, we are people pleasers. We are so scared to express which position we're taking, which stand we're taking, what we like, what we don't like, because we're so scared of being judged and being criticized by people, so that we just hide who we are. we become numb, we become indifferent to things, like we refuse to take a stand. Indifference is a really scary thing. For people who have gone through trauma like me, when I was going through horrible things, I just completely shut down. So that for many years, I didn't feel anything. Like, I don't have interest in this, I don't have interest in that, I'm not fond of this, and I don't really care about that. Indifference is such a scary thing because it can lead to two extremes. The first extreme is for people who like to take risks. Like, they would do scary things, they would cut themselves just to feel like they're alive, just to feel things. And another type of person, they would just go on like avoidance. They would turn to things, objects for addiction, like alcohol, like drugs, sex, codependency, because they are dependent on relationship. It's still an object. And that's how I was. I had been a codependent all my life because I suppressed my needs. I suppressed all my feelings in order to survive at such a young age when going through these horrible things. So it leads to depression in the long run. It leads to anxiety. It leads to a lot of mental issues. And that's how I feel like I got my bipolar in the first place. So we really need to train ourselves to pick a stand. No matter if it's good or bad, it's how you choose, it's how you feel, and that's all it matters. Your feelings matter. Your feelings are validated. Lastly, I wanted to throw in a bonus tip, which is to self-soothe. When you are under this dating occasion, but when you are overwhelmed with social anxiety, you don't know what to do, when you feel out of control, when you experience symptoms like blushing, heart racing, like sweats, and body tension, when you feel like you're gonna faint, when you feel like you're short of breath, I have another video talks in details about how to self-soothe when you get triggered in public. You can check it out. Also, I'm gonna put it here. But there are 3 things you can do. The first one is to take some breathing exercise. Just go to the bathroom for like 10 minutes. Take a deep breath in, hold it for like 4 to 6 seconds, and then take the longest breath out and take it for like 4 to 7 sets. And then you will experience this immediate calm sensation. You will feel more grounded. And another similar way is to do like body scan. You can just open up YouTube and search for like 10 minutes body scan to target each individual muscle group so that you would feel the presence of your body and you would feel more connected, and that would instantly soothe you. And the third thing is to ask for help. I'm not saying like ask anybody for help, but just text your friend, someone who's supportive and compassionate. Just text them like, well, I need you right now. I really need to know that I can pull this through. I know I can do it. Please tell me that. That kind of attunement will really make a big difference. And you would notice the second when you walk out, you would feel more grounded and more slow and more clear in thinking. Alright everyone, thanks for sitting through this video. I hope it's helpful. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanted to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.